So this is Kendra Karen. I'm here with Mom and Dad Packard. We are at Packard Oaks in Telephone, Texas. Today is February 19th, 2020, and we are going to talk with Mom about her mother.
Well, my mom was born in a little town back there called Newport, Virginia. And Daddy was, my father, was also born in the little town there. And so that's where they met and then were married. But my mom was a very simple lady. She really had no high honors, as Bob's mother was told about. Uh, but she just was just a very simple, ordinary person. She loved to work. She taught us how to work. She was always busy. I never ever saw my mom running around to this person or to this shop or to this store or anything like that. I do remember my earliest recollection of Mom and Dad without a car. It was Christmas time, and I remember Mom and Dad. She was all dressed up in a little brown like dress with a little pink little handkerchief here, and just really sweet. I mean, she was a very, not petite, but she was a small person. And
How tall
anyway,
was she?
she what? How
How
tall?
tall was she?
Honey, she was probably only about, I would think 5'4", 5, something like that. Not tall. Now, Daddy he was much taller. He was probably 6 something. But anyway, I remember seeing them walk down the road, the dirt road, to go to the store, just walking. And the store was probably 5 miles away.
It's 7.
7 miles away. Maybe not. Well, that was Pembroke, honey. Anyway, I don't remember her giving, birth other than that one time, but I don't ever remember the younger children, her nursing the babies, although I know she did. I don't remember ever changing a diaper, but I remember washing the diapers because we didn't have Pampers in those days. These were regular, a square thing of material, fabric, cotton, that they folded and made a diaper out of it. But anyway, I don't remember the personal touch, with her babies, sitting and rocking them or telling them stories or singing to them. I don't remember that ever happening in our home.
Did you or your other sisters have to pitch in and help on things or not?
Oh yeah, we all did.
What did you help?
We all did. Well, we had to do the dishes. We had to do the
help cooking.
help cook, but not all the time. Mom did most of the cooking, like for breakfast and lunch and evening. Mom did most of the cooking because we ate the same thing almost every day. We were raised on potatoes and beans, basically, and fresh bread, just regular biscuit type bread every
Not loaves of bread.
not loaves of bread. My dad, he would use we called it white bread because it was just regular white bread, not wheat. We never ever had any wheat. We never did have any wheat bread or
Candy?
wheat
Ever.
ever until we were married. That's the first time I had ever eaten something wheat. But anyway, my mom, like I said, she was a very simple, peaceful lady. I never heard her use a bad word or use curse words or ever, even out of my dad. My dad never. Other people would, but I never really did ever hear my dad and mom ever curse or use slang or just use words that just weren't appropriate for anybody. And plus, they had very little education. I think my mom and dad went maybe to the 3rd grade. and then they had to, they got married, and then they had to get out and work.
How old was she when she got married?
I think she was 23. I think she was 23. I'll have to look that up for sure. But she was born in 1906. And then
what's
my
her
dad,
maiden name?
huh?
What's her maiden name?
Her maiden name was Smith, Geraldine
Okay.
Smith.
Okay.
She didn't have a middle name, but just Geraldine Smith. And then she married Homer Richard Meredith. And anyway, they were both raised at the same place. They went to school basically at the same place. They went to church up on the mountain when they were first married and young. And but again, honey, she took care of the home as far as doing the mopping and the washing and all that kind of stuff. And again, no high school education, just third grade maybe. Doesn't have. They were baptized when they were older, 18 or something like that. Not when they were little kids. But anyway, they both were baptized, joined the church and everything. Dad didn't go to college. Mom didn't go to college.
How was she spiritually?
My mom was very simple as far as even that.
Very quiet.
Very quiet. In fact, I don't think that she ever read the Book of Mormon. Or
Was
even
she a good reader? I mean, she...
Oh yeah, she
only
could
went to
read and
third
everything,
grade.
but they just didn't do it that way.
Didn't
honey.
stress it.
They didn't stress it at all. And growing up, I really thought that the missionaries were the authority, that they were like general authorities because they were so smart. They
back there.
yeah.
Back there.
Yes, I mean they just were smart. That's all it was to it. And I can remember always being around other missionaries. In fact, I remember the guy that baptized me, an elder Risser, baptized me, and then there were older elders. They seemed to be much older, and not these little teenager, missionaries. I mean, it was just crazy. But anyway, again, honey, and we never did really have prayers in our family.
Nor home evening.
We never had family home evening, ever. They just didn't have it in those days. They just didn't have it.
But we did. We had.
You did.
We grew up with it.
Yeah,
Right.
later on.
There was a prophet a long time ago that in conference talked about family home evening. This is way before it was accepted by the church. And my mom just caught that just like that, and we had family home evening way before. Thursday nights.
Was
Yeah.
that while your dad was...
Oh
away
yeah,
prisoner?
we always had family home evening. When I was very young, before the church ever designated a day, we thought it was very odd that they would designate.
Thursday night
Mm-hmm.
as
That's when
Family
we
home
held
evening.
it, but now it was
now
Monday night.
they
Mom.
moved it to Monday. And then plus, honey, when we went to primary, we went like on Thursday also. Thursday was our day that we went to primary with even with our kids, Chad, and it was on Thursday and in the afternoon. But back there, when I was growing up, we went to the neighbor's house for primary, and then
What positions in the church did your mom hold?
my mom never held a calling until after I was married, and she was the Relief Society president, called as the Relief Society president. And then, of course, my dad was also a branch president at that time. And kind of the bad thing was, and I can't remember whether this was after they went to the temple or before they went to the temple, and plus before he was the branch president, I saw my dad light up a cigarette on the church grounds. I mean, I was just shocked to see my dad, do that. I mean, you just don't do that. But anyway, I remember that. But then anyway, he quit smoking when we got married, and we convinced them to come out. He had quit his
We're
smoking.
the ones that convinced him to come out to Salt Lake to the temple, because we were there, and I was a student at the University of Utah finishing up pre-dental, and we had just been married in a few months before, and
But anyway, they made the track back there in August.
They were
and
endowed, and the younger children were all sealed to him, including Mom.
And then after that, I don't think it was just the next day, like you said, honey, but it was later after that in August when we were with them and through the temple and everything. Then we left, for Portland to start school because we had to be there in September
For dental school.
For dental school. So anyway,
but her mom and dad were really, really impressive at that time, and that was about the time she died.
After
Can you
that,
tell about that, Mom? Her dad?
when, like I said, when they came to the temple, they were really excited about it, and they were glad that they did it and everything. And then we went to Portland. They went back to Virginia, and then it was in April, when we lived in California, is when she died.
So it's 4 years later, 5
years.
5 years
59
later.
We were married in 1959 or 58, 59. One of those. They're so close together I can't remember. Well, anyway, but she passed away after that, and but she never did it. I mean, she never did play the piano. She never really did sing. She was just very simple and unpretentious.
What was her personality like?
Honey, she was kind of serious, but yet my dad loved to tell jokes. But my mom, she was just kind of just simple.
She wasn't very talkative.
And not very talkative.
And how about
well,
as
and plus,
parent,
honey,
as a parent,
one thing, she had bad teeth. She really had bad teeth. That needed to be recorded.
I don't think she ever got them fixed.
Oh, yes, she did. Yeah.
But where you as sisters were really well, like you took care of your hair and you wore makeup and you were where did you get that from? Was that from your mother?
No, basically it's from my dad. My dad was a dresser.
Yeah, that's
He
true.
loved to dress. Always was buying beautiful suits and coats and pants, and always wore a hat and always had polished shoes, and I mean he was buying clothes all the time. And my mom did too, though, but she wasn't as bad as my dad. My dad was overboard, I think, when I was growing up. But Mom, she liked really nice things, but she wasn't obsessive like kind of Daddy was. But anyway, she liked to look good. She always looked good, and had a good figure.
She was small and petite and didn't weigh very much.
Didn't weigh very much. But anyway, she was, had a beautiful little figure for her age.
You didn't hear of any of them ever saying a swear word or anything?
I never did. I just never, ever did. And I never, ever saw my mom and dad fighting or being disagreeable with us. In fact, my dad, at our table, Dad sat up here at the head, Mom sat here, and then all the children sat around this way. And I always remember my dad was always going like this. Now, honey, did you know da-da-da-da? He'd always take his hand and put it on her. Because,
Did they kiss in front of you? Like
I never ever.
You and Dad did after prayers?
I never ever did. And like I said,
hug or
not really. They just didn't.
Did they hug on you?
No, no. Our kids, our family didn't. You just assumed that they did love you, and you didn't question it. Do they really love you?
Say "I love you" ever?
I never ever remember hearing that in my family, at least.
Okay.
But again, when I went to, for the first time when we left home, to be married and stuff like that, or after we were married, that's the first time I've ever seen my dad really cry. Although I do remember when we lost the two little boys. Dad had just come back from the hospital, and we were at the kitchen table, and Daddy really started crying because the little baby had just died, and Mom had been left there.
How was that for her?
It was hard on him, I think.
Did you see her cry, or?
Well, not really.
She just didn't show a lot of emotion.
She really didn't. No. But anyway, they just, like his two little boys, they both died right after each other. And they are saying, honey, that one of the babies died of diarrhea, and which you can do that can happen. And then the other one said it was infantile paralysis. In those days, that was kind of a common sickness. But now whether that is really true, I don't know.
That's
And if
polio.
it were, yeah, or if it was something else. But both, they said they did die that way.
So how was she when she did she discipline y'all as a parent? What was she like?
I never did get spanked by Mom, and I don't remember Mom even ever spanking anybody. Or I never did see her slap us on the bottom or slap us in the face. I just don't remember that. It just didn't happen. In fact, I do remember one time Daddy was going to spank me because I got really mad at my two brothers and sisters because they had bicycles and I didn't. And I remember taking that bicycle and throwing it over the road comes down like here, and there is a rock fence right here with the road. And I remember being so mad, I took that bicycle and just threw it over. And so my dad was about ready to use the belt. He used the belt. And he was going to spank me for doing that because it was rude. And it was bad on the bikes. But I don't remember whether he really did. I just remember the belt. And whether he did, I don't know. So as far as discipline, I didn't see that we even had discipline because, we didn't smoke or we didn't drink or...
You were obedient?
Yeah, I think we were obedient myself, But my two older brothers, they started smoking and drinking. But none of the girls did. The girls never did drink or anything like that. And yet when Sylvia got married, that's when she started drinking. Because Bellegarde, her husband, drank socially. And so she did. When they'd go out at night, she would start drinking and stuff.
So
and then it just got worse and worse.
Okay. How did your mom die? What did she die of?
Honey, again, we're not sure.
Well, they were in the kitchen.
No, they were outside, honey, by
Who
my dad and Mom were outside on the porch, the kitchen porch, and there was a refrigerator out there, a freezer, and it was icing up, and Mom was telling Daddy, this is not good, we need to do something, and then she just collapsed.
And what did he do?
And he tried
CPR,
he tried to give her CPR, but it didn't happen.
And how old was she?
59 years old.
Very young.
And how old were you at the time?
At that time, I was 23. I was just 23.
We were married, and I think we were already in orthodontic school.
Yeah, we were in California. We lived in California when I was there.
And we went back to the funeral. We have some really good pictures because I love to take pictures, I think I was the only one that had a camera at the funeral.
Well,
and
plus,
I took a lot
honey,
of pictures.
We have always just taken pictures of the person after they're died in the casket. And my
They didn't like
family,
that.
Some people don't. Yeah. Some people don't like
honey, I mean, my family are just awful. They did. In fact, they were really embarrassed and didn't like me at all for doing that because I sent them the pictures, the copies of those. And so they have never really liked
Forgiven
us for that. But anyway, we did.
Were you close to your mother? Like,
oh, I think I was,
you had a good
honey.
relationship?
Whatever
Did you
you.
talk
Again, Tammy, things are just different back then. Kendra, I'm sorry. Things were just different back then.
It was.
Like I said, I never ran to Mommy and cried. I don't ever remember that.
Even during our problems, especially like with Chad, was our first baby, and he had the bones in the head and everything. He had a hernia, and when they put the IV, they put it in the skull, and all of the fluid went into the skull, and this was really, really bad. And she didn't call her mother.
So for help, advice,
Right, right.
Mother's Day, nothing.
Honey, that was never celebrated.
Oh,
Never thought about. I mean, it just, in our family, at least, it just didn't happen. I mean, we just didn't do
I
it.
don't remember of ever sending her a card for Mother's Day Or
We
Christmas.
didn't. We didn't.
or
Because
Christmas.
I wasn't used to that. My mom never did it. So, you kind of do what
yeah,
example
how to raise.
you are. But anyway, honey, I think with their activity in the church was very simple. Their testimonies were very simple, and yet they were around people all the time that were members of the church. But the people in general weren't that educated, and plus, I mean,
All of them there in that area.
almost all of
Not
them
the
in the
same
area.
grade. Yeah.
None of them had gone on missions as adult. I mean, when they should have, and so
Just money. They just didn't have the money.
they really didn't have the money to even do it. And then again, it wasn't pushed like it was. Like, honey, we supported a young boy that was in our ward that wanted to go on a
Branch.
mission in the branch, and so we sent this young kid. I'm sure he's a distant relative, but very distant. But we paid him to go on his mission, and he went on a mission
We paid every month for
We
the 2
paid-
years.
for
When was that?
a long time. Right after we got married, honey. It was right after we got married.
Okay, wow.
We've
But-
gone through some really times of sacrifice.
That's for sure.
You ready?
Good.
Mhm.